The moment she said she was leaving, I felt something that wasn't of this century. It was an ache from centuries ago, a pain that echoed through time. This story begins with a single word, a simple word. A word we hear every day without a second thought. But when Emily Carter uttered that word in front of me, my world crumbled. I quit. 2 syllables, 6 letters, and yet, when I heard them, I felt a lance pierce my chest, not metaphorically, literally, a physical pain so intense. I clutched at my heart, convinced I would die. My name is Ethan Blackwood. I'm 42 years old. I own a chain of upscale restaurants worth millions, and until 2 years ago, I didn't know I'd been waiting for centuries to meet a housekeeper. If you've ever felt an irrational fear when someone says goodbye, as if you've already lost them before, then this story is for you. Emily started working at my house 2 years ago. I needed someone to take care of the cleaning and organization of a mansion, far too large for a man living alone. My wife, Sarah, had passed away 3 years prior, cancer, and since then, I'd been living in a silence only widowers truly know. The agency sent her with glowing references, a single mother of 4-year-old twins at the time, hard-working, punctual, discreet, everything I was looking for. What I wasn't looking for, what I never expected, was what I felt the first time I saw her. It was in the foyer of my house. She was wearing a simple uniform, her hair pulled back, and she was holding a worn bag with both hands. Nothing special at first glance, just an ordinary woman in an ordinary situation. But when our eyes met, my heart stopped. I'm not exaggerating. It literally stopped beating for a second, and in that second, as I saw something impossible, a flash of images that made no sense. A blue sky over ancient stone pyramids. Smoke, blood, and eyes. Her eyes, looking at me with a desperation that spanned centuries. "Mr. Blackwood, are you all right?" Her voice snapped me back. I blinked. The images vanished. "Yes," I mumbled. "Just a dizzy spell." I lied. It wasn't a dizzy spell, it was something else. Something I didn't understand and that I preferred not to examine. That first night after meeting her, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw images that made no sense. Pyramids under a sky ablaze with fire, warriors with feathered headdresses running through the smoke, and a voice shouting a name that wasn't mine, but that felt like it was. My wife had passed away 3 years ago. Sarah, I had loved her, or so I thought, but I had never felt with her what I felt in that single second when Emily's eyes met mine. It was as if my entire life before had been a prelude, a preparation for this moment. I tried to rationalize it. I was alone, vulnerable, a new woman in my life, even if she was an employee, could awaken dormant emotions. That's what I told myself. But deep down, I knew it was a lie. What I felt for Emily wasn't ordinary attraction, it was recognition. For 2 years, Emily worked in my house, and for 2 years, I pretended that nothing strange was happening, but it was, constantly, every time I saw her. My chest tightened. When she left at the end of the day, I felt an inexplicable emptiness, and at night, I dreamed. Dreams so vivid that I would wake up crying. Always the same dream. I was running through an ancient city in flames, pyramids crumbling, screams in a language I shouldn't understand, but did. And she was shouting my name. As soldiers dragged her to her death, I would wake up drenched in sweat, with the word quit resonating in my head like a nightmare echo. There was one night that was particularly intense. I dreamed I was in a stone cell. My wrists were bleeding from chains that had held them, and then she appeared. A woman dressed in conquistador-era clothing, but with eyes I recognized as Emily's. She freed me. She told me to run, not to look back, that we would meet at the great temple when it was all over. But as I ran toward freedom, I heard her scream. I stopped. I looked back, and I saw soldiers dragging her away while she shouted my name. A name that wasn't Ethan, a name that meant something like eagle that flies by night. I woke up screaming that name. I screamed it so loud that my butler came running to my room, thinking something had happened to me. "Mr. Blackwood, are you all right?" "Yes," I lied. "Just a nightmare." But it wasn't just a nightmare, it was a memory of a life I shouldn't remember. There's something else I have to confess, something I've never told anyone. Since I was a child, I've had a scar on my chest, circular, perfectly round. Doctors could never explain it. There was no surgery, no accident. I was simply born with it. My mother used to say it was an angel's kiss. My father said it was a genetic quirk, but I always knew, somewhere deep down, that it was something else. It was the mark of a lance, an ancient lance that had pierced me centuries ago. I didn't tell anyone about the dreams or the dizzy spells or the pain I felt every time Emily said goodbye at the end of her workday. A pain that had become a part of my daily routine until that morning. "Mr. Blackwood, I need to talk to you." Emily was standing in the doorway of my study. Her face wore an expression I knew all too well, the expression of someone who is about to deliver bad news. Fear struck me before she said anything, an irrational, disproportionate fear, as if my body knew what was coming before my mind processed it. "Of course," I replied, trying to sound calm. "Come in." She sat down in front of my desk. Her hands were trembling. "Mr. Blackwood, I've worked here for 2 years. It's been the best job I've ever had. You've been more than fair to me, but..." She stopped. Tears started to fall down her face, and then she said it. "I have to quit." What happened next defies all rational explanation. My body reacted before my mind could. I stood up so violently that I knocked over the chair. My hand went to my chest, where the pain, that familiar pain, exploded with an intensity I had never felt. And then I saw it all. It wasn't a dizzy spell. It wasn't a dream. It was a vision so real that I stopped seeing the office where I was. I saw an ancient city, the great city, but not the prosperous city of the stories. I saw it in flames, Spanish conquistadors advancing with swords and armor, and I was running. But it wasn't Ethan who was running, it was another man, a warrior with feathers and war paint. And he was running because he had been freed from his capture by a woman with Emily's eyes. The vision shifted. I saw that woman being dragged away by soldiers while she screamed my name, not Ethan, another name, in a language my mouth didn't know, but my soul remembered. And then I saw death, her death, my death. Both of us falling as the ancient city crumbled around us. "Mr. Blackwood, Mr. Blackwood." Emily's voice brought me back. She was kneeling beside me. I was on the floor of my office, trembling, with tears streaming down my face. What happened?" I murmured. "You fainted," she responded. "You were speaking in a language I didn't recognize, and then you just collapsed." I looked at her, her eyes, those eyes I had seen across centuries, and I knew, with a certainty that defied all logic, that I couldn't let her go. "No," I said. "What?" "You can't leave. I can't. I can't lose you again." The words came out on their own. I didn't think them. I didn't plan them. I just said them, as if they'd been waiting 500 years to be spoken. Emily was still. Her face showed confusion, fear, and something else. Something that looked like recognition. "Again?" she repeated softly. Before I could answer, a voice interrupted us. "Finally, you said it." My grandmother was in the doorway of the study. Ms. Eleanor was 91 years old and had been blind since her youth. But at that moment, her sightless eyes seemed to see more clearly than anyone's. She approached slowly, guided by her cane, but with a confidence that defied her blindness. "I've been waiting for you," she continued. "Both of you. All my life. I have waited." Grandma, what are you talking about? Miss Eleanor walked directly toward Emily, without hesitation, without faltering, as if she could see her perfectly. She extended her wrinkled hand and touched Emily's face. Finally, I found you. Daughter, she whispered. After waiting for you all these lives. Emily gasped. Because the moment the old woman touched her face, she also had a vision. She collapsed in my arms. Her eyes were open, but they didn't see the room. They saw another time, another life. She murmured words in Old English, mixed with something that sounded like a Native American language. Don't let him die, she said. Please, don't let him die. I held her as her body trembled. Tears streamed down her face, but she didn't seem aware she was crying. She was lost in a vision that dragged her 500 years into the past, when she finally came to. It took several minutes for her to be able to speak. I saw it, was the first thing she said. I saw everything. Her voice was barely a whisper. But in her eyes, there was a recognition that broke my soul. It was you, she continued while looking at me. It was you who was running, the one who tried to come back for me, the one who died trying to save me. Tears were now falling from my eyes too. I always came back for you, I responded without thinking. In every life, even though I was always late. How do you know that? She asked. I don't know. I feel it. It's like my cells remember what my mind forgot. My grandmother nodded slowly. That's exactly it, she confirmed. Souls remember, even if bodies forget. I saw it later, when Emily could speak clearly. She saw the same thing I did. An ancient city in flames, the Native American warrior, the daughter of the settler who freed him, and the promise they made as they died. In 500 years, when the world is different, I will recognize you by your eyes, and this time, I will be the one to save you. When the vision ended, the three of us were sitting on the floor of my study. A millionaire, a housekeeper, and a blind old woman, united by something that reason couldn't explain. Grandma, I finally spoke. How did you know? How did you know from the moment she arrived? Ms. Eleanor smiled. It was the smile of someone who has kept a secret for too long. Because I was there too, she responded. In that life, I was her sister, of Emily, of the daughter of the settler. I saw when you freed him. I saw when they captured you. And I saw when you both died, promising to meet again. Her voice broke. I have been born 7 times, waiting to see you together again. This is the first time you have succeeded. 7 times, Emily whispered. 7 lives, the old woman confirmed. Sometimes I was born as your mother, sometimes as your sister, once I was your daughter, but in every life. My only mission was to find you and reunite you. And in every life, something went wrong. What went wrong? You didn't recognize each other, or one died before finding the other, or circumstances separated you. Until now. She took both of our hands. Until now. The next few hours were the strangest of my life. My grandmother led us to a room in the mansion that I didn't know, behind an antique wardrobe. There was a hidden door that led to a small family archive. There, among yellowed documents and centuries-old objects, we found the evidence. A jade medallion that had been in my family forever. I had seen it as a child, but never paid attention to it. My grandmother handed it to me now. Look at it closely, she said. I examined it. The jade was ancient, of a deep green, almost black, and engraved on it was a symbol I didn't recognize. It's a glyph, my grandmother explained. It means eternal love. The warrior carved it for the daughter of the settler the night before he died. I carved it, I murmured, because at that moment, I knew it was true. I remembered it. My hands remembered the movement of carving that symbol into the green stone. I took the medallion and held it against the light. It was heavy, cold, and when I put it against my chest, exactly over the circular scar, I felt something that took my breath away. A surge of energy ran through my body. It wasn't pain. It was remembrance. I saw my own hands carving that symbol 500 years ago. I saw the cave where I worked, hidden from the settlers. I saw the obsidian, the jade, the primitive tools that I used with a skill I never had in this life. And I saw her, sitting beside me, watching me work, promising me that she would wear that medallion until the day she died. A promise she kept, even though her death came too soon. Emily took the medallion from my hand, and when her fingers touched the jade, she also felt the surge. "It's ours," she said simply. "It was always ours." My grandmother nodded with satisfaction. "I kept it for 9 decades, she explained, waiting for the moment to hand it over. This is that moment." "But why did you arrive so late?" I asked. "If you were born 7 times to reunite us, why did it take us so long?" The old woman sighed. It was a sigh loaded with centuries of frustration. "Because fate is cruel," she responded. "In some lives, one of you died before I could find you. In others, you were born on different continents. Once, during World War II, he died in combat the same day she was going to meet him." She paused. "But this life is different. This time, you were born in the same city, at the same time." She took our hands, "Until now." And even though fate had placed them in opposite social classes, the modern world, well, it allows for what was once impossible. "What is it that it allows?" Emily asked. "Love without death," the elderly woman replied. "For the first time in 500 years, you can love each other without it meaning you have to die." "There's more," the old woman continued. She produced a rolled-up document. It was a colonial letter, over 400 years old. "This letter," she explained, "was written by a Spanish priest who witnessed the execution. It describes everything: the names, the promise, and this." She unrolled the document to reveal a drawing. It was a sketch from that time, a woman being dragged by soldiers while screaming toward a man who was running toward her. The faces were simple, stylized, but unmistakable. "It's our faces." Emily took the document with trembling hands. Tears fell uncontrollably. "It's me," she whispered. "That's me." "And that's me," Ethan completed, "running to you, like I always should have." "But I still don't understand," Emily said. "Why now? Why after 500 years?" "Because now, it's different," Ethan's grandmother responded. "In each previous life, there were obstacles that you couldn't overcome. Wars, diseases, social classes impossible to cross. But now the world has changed. Now a millionaire can love a housekeeper without anyone having to die for it." She looked toward where she knew they were, even though she couldn't see them. "And now," she continued, "there's something else. Something that makes this life special." "What?" "The twins." Emily paled. "Her children. The 6-year-old twins waiting for her at home. What do my children have to do with this?" Ethan's grandmother smiled again, that smile that held centuries of secrets. "In the 1524 life, you didn't have children. She was pregnant when she died. Twins. They were never born." The silence was absolute. "But the souls," the elderly woman continued, "the souls of those twins never stopped searching for you, life after life, trying to be born to you, failing each time." "Until now," Emily murmured. "Until now," she confirmed. "Your children, Emily, are not just your children. They are your children. Both of you. The souls that finally managed to be born. And he had to see them. He had to see the twins with his own eyes. Emily took him to her small apartment that same afternoon. It was modest. 2 bedrooms, small kitchen, worn furniture, the opposite of his mansion. But when the door opened and 2 6-year-old children ran toward their mother, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: belonging. "Mommy," they shouted in unison. "Who is he?" Emily looked at him, unsure how to explain, but before she could say anything, one of the twins walked directly to him. It was the boy. His name was Dylan. He looked at him with eyes that seemed too old for his age. "I know you," he said simply. "Where do you know me from?" Ethan asked, kneeling to be at his height. "From the dreams," he responded. "Mommy cries in the dreams, and you come looking for her, but you're always late." The words of a 6-year-old, words that narrated 500 years of tragedy. His sister, Ashley, approached too. She was more shy, but just as direct. "This time you weren't late," she said. "This time you arrived just fine." He hugged them. He didn't know why. It was instinct, as if his arms remembered holding them before, even though this was the first time. And when he hugged them, he had another vision. He saw a woman holding her pregnant belly, crying, promising her babies that she would find them in another life. He saw those babies trying to be born again and again, failing, waiting. He saw the moment they finally were born. In this life, as Dylan and Ashley. And he saw what his grandmother had said: 4 souls connected through the centuries, finally together. But the vision didn't end there. It continued, showing him more. He saw life after life where those souls tried to be born. In the 17th century, Emily and Ethan met as servants in a Spanish castle. They loved each other in secret. She became pregnant with twins, but a plague killed her before they could be born. In the 18th century, they were born as peasants in France. They met. They married. She became pregnant with twins again. But the French Revolution killed them both. The babies were never born. In the 19th century, Ethan was an industrialist in London. She was the daughter of a business partner. Finally, they could be together legally. She became pregnant with twins, but she died in childbirth. The babies survived 3 days before following her, life after life, attempt after attempt. The same souls wanting to be born, the same souls failing again and again, until Ryan, in the vision. He saw something he didn't expect. He saw Ryan as part of this story, not as an obstacle, but as a bridge. He had been sent to be the temporary father of the twins, to protect them until the real father arrived. Ryan was a voluntary sacrifice, a soul who had accepted that role, so that, finally, after centuries, the twins could be born. When the vision ended, the twins were hugging him tighter. "Don't go, Dad," Dylan said. It was the first time they'd called him that, and it was as if it had always been true. But there was a problem. Emily had come to quit for a reason that hadn't disappeared with the revelations of that afternoon. "My ex-husband," she explained that night when the children were asleep. "Ryan, he has cancer. He asked me for help." "Do you still love him?" Ethan asked, and he was surprised by the pain he felt asking. "No," she responded without hesitating. "I never really loved him. I married him because I felt like I had to be with someone. Because the emptiness I felt was unbearable." "The emptiness," he repeated. He knew it too. "But he's the father of my children. And he's dying. And he has no one else." "What does he need?" "Treatment. Experimental. In another country." It costs more than I could ever pay. That's why I was going to quit, to go with him, to help him. She stopped. The tears returned. I can't abandon him, she said. Even if I don't love him. Even if I know that we... I understand, Ethan said. And he did understand it, because in that moment, he saw another way to break the cycle, another way to save, not to lose. How much does the treatment cost? Ethan, I can't. How much? She gave him the figure. It was a significant amount, but not impossible. Consider it paid, Ethan said. Emily looked at him in disbelief. I can't accept that. It's what I have to do, he interrupted. In 1524, I died trying to save you. This time, I'm going to save you in another way. I'm going to eliminate the obstacles, and all of them. But Ryan will receive his treatment. Your children will have their father alive. And you won't have to choose between taking care of someone and staying with me. Emily's tears were no longer of sadness. Why? She asked. Because I waited 500 years for you, I replied. And I'm not going to lose you again, over something that money can solve. I flew to see Robert the next day. Emily insisted on coming with me. He was in a modest hospital, emaciated, clearly ill. But when we walked into his room, his expression wasn't one of surprise. It was relief. Finally, he said, looking at me. Finally, you've arrived. Do you know me? I asked. Not in this life, he replied. But in my dreams. You were always there. The man who was meant to find her. He looked at Emily. I always knew you didn't love me, he continued. I always knew you were waiting for someone. And I always knew that someone wasn't me. His voice was weak, but clear. When I was diagnosed, I had a different dream. I saw everything. An ancient city, the warrior, the conquistador's daughter. And I saw that they were you. And that I was just another obstacle that fate had put in your way. You're not an obstacle, Emily said, taking his hand. No, not anymore, he replied. Because now I understand my role. My role was to give them the twins, to take care of them until he arrived. And now that he has, he paused. Tears streamed down his gaunt face. Now, I can go in peace. You're not going anywhere, I said. So you're going to get treatment. You're going to live. Why would you do that? He asked. Why save the man? Who took the place? That should have been yours? Because in 500 years, I've learned something, I replied. That true love doesn't destroy, it builds. And because your children, our children, need you alive. Robert closed his eyes. When he opened them, there was peace in them. Thank you, he whispered, to both of you, for finally allowing me to rest. The treatment worked. 3 months later, Robert was in remission. He had decided to stay in the country where he received treatment. He liked the climate, he liked the people, and he liked the distance. Don't run away from me, he said, when the twins said goodbye over video call. I'll always be your father, but Ethan, he is too, in a way, that I never could be. Diego and Valentina looked at him with the wisdom of children, who understood too much. We know, Dad, Valentina said. We always knew. 4 months after the day, Emily tried to quit. We got married. But before the wedding, there was something I had to do. Something that my late wife had left unfinished. Sarah, my first wife, had died of cancer 3 years before I met Emily. I always assumed her death was the end of our story. But I was wrong. A week before the wedding, my lawyer contacted me. Sarah had left a letter that was only to be delivered when I remarried. I opened it with trembling hands. "Ethan," it began, "if you're reading this, it means you've found someone. And if fate works the way I think it does, that someone is her. The woman who was always meant to be by your side." Tears blurred my vision. "I always knew you loved me," the letter continued. "But I also always knew that part of your heart was waiting for someone else, someone you hadn't met yet, someone your soul was searching for, without your mind knowing it. Don't feel guilty. Our marriage was beautiful. You made me happy. But I was a bridge, not a destination. My role was to take care of you until she arrived. Now that she has arrived, let me go. Stop mourning what we were and fully embrace what you can be. I love you. I loved you in this life, and I'll love you in those to come. But our love is different. It's the love of someone who prepares you for something greater. Be happy, Ethan. This time, be completely happy. With eternal, but different." I always loved Sarah. I cried for hours after reading that letter, not from sadness, from gratitude. Sarah had known, she had understood, and she had given me her blessing from beyond the grave. When I showed the letter to Emily, she cried too. "She prepared you for me," Emily said, "like Robert prepared me for you. We were all connected, without even knowing it." "That's how it works," it confirmed my grandmother, who had overheard everything. "Souls who love us know their role, even if that role means letting us go." The ceremony was at the ruins of an ancient city. Yes, it's possible to do that, with the proper permits. And when you have the resources that I do, almost anything is possible, my grandmother insisted. "That's the place," she said, "where you died, where you made your promise, and where you must close the cycle." Emily walked towards me, on stones that had witnessed our deaths. 500 years ago. Diego and Valentina carried the rings, the souls, who had finally been born. And when the minister asked if we accepted, we both answered. In English and in Nahuatl, the ancient Aztec language that neither of us had studied, but that we both remembered. The words flowed from our mouths with an impossible naturalness. I said, "Nimitzlazotla Kemikach," which means, "I love you forever." She replied, "In Semanahuac," which means, "In all lives." The minister, an elderly Franciscan friar, who knew our story, looked at us with tears in his eyes. "Never in my 50 years of ministry," he said, "have I witnessed something like this. This is more than a marriage. This is the culmination of centuries of promises." He declared us husband and wife in Latin, English, and Nahuatl, 3 languages, 3 cultures, one single love story. When we kissed, something extraordinary happened. The twins, who were standing beside us, began to sing. It was a song that none of us consciously knew, an ancient song, in Nahuatl, that spoke of soulmates who find each other after death. Diego and Valentina sang it with perfectly tuned voices, as if they had rehearsed their entire lives. But they hadn't rehearsed. They simply remembered. The few guests present listened with tears in their eyes. My grandmother smiled, her blind eyes shining with something that seemed like their own light. "That's how a cycle closes," she murmured. "With love, with music, with the new generations, honoring the old ones." The reception was small, just us, my grandmother, the twins, and some close friends. But for me, it was the greatest celebration in history. 500 years of waiting ended that night during the toast. My grandmother stood up with difficulty. Her 91 years weighed heavily on her, but her voice was strong. 7 lifetimes ago, she began, I saw 2 people die for love. I saw their souls promise each other that they would find each other again. And I swore that I would be there when they did. Her blind eyes looked towards us, as if she could see us perfectly. Today, after 500 years, I finally fulfill my promise. I can finally rest. A tear rolled down her wrinkled face. Take care of them, she said, looking towards the twins. They are the proof that love survives everything, even death, even time. She sat down, and in that moment, I knew. Their lifetimes of waiting were finally over. My grandmother, Sarah, passed away 6 months after our wedding. She died peacefully as in her bed and with a smile on her face. The twins were with her when she closed her eyes. Will you come back? Grandma, asked Diego. There's no need anymore, she replied. My work is done. Now I can go where I was always meant to go. And so, the 7th life of Sarah came to an end, but she left something behind. A letter that we could only read after the funeral. To Ethan and Emily, it began. If you're reading this, it means I can finally rest. But before I go, there is something you must know. The letter continued. In the life of 1524, it wasn't just the 2 of you and the twins. There was a 5th soul, a child who died in battle, the warrior's brother. That child promised to protect you in every life that followed. He promised to find you and guide you back to yourselves. That child was me. Ethan, I'm your brother. From 500 years ago, I was born as your grandmother in this life because it was the only way to stay close and wait for the right moment. And now that the moment has arrived, I can go and reunite with the others, man. I love you. I have loved you for 5 centuries, and I will love you for eternity. Until we meet again, Sarah, or as they called me in 1524, Isdley. I cried for hours after reading that letter, but they weren't only tears of sadness. They were tears of understanding. I finally understood why my grandmother had been born 7 times. I finally understood the sacrifice she had made. In each life, she had to give up her own happiness to find us. She had been a mother and couldn't raise her children because she had to find me. She had been a lover and abandoned the one she loved because she had to reunite us again and again. She had sacrificed everything for a promise made 500 years ago. And now, finally, she could rest. Ethan, Emily said, and taking my hand, your grandmother gave us something that we can never repay. I know, I replied. She gave us 7 lifetimes of service, 7 lifetimes of sacrifice, and all we can do is honor that gift. And we will, she said, by living the life that they all wanted for us, a life together, a life complete, a life without any more loss. In the weeks that followed the funeral, the twins began to exhibit behaviors that defied explanation. Diego, who had never shown any interest in cooking, began preparing ancient Aztec dishes, recipes that no one had taught him, dishes that used ingredients he shouldn't have known about. Valentina started drawing, but not drawings of a 6-year-old girl. She drew pyramids, temples, warriors with feathers, and in every drawing, we appeared, Emily and I, dressed in period clothing, always together. They're remembering, explained a therapist specializing in past life regressions that we consulted. The souls of very young children sometimes retain memories of previous lives. They usually lose them as they grow. But in cases like this, in cases where the connection is so strong, the memories remain. Should we be worried? Emily asked. No, the therapist replied. You should celebrate. Your children are the bridge between the past and the present. They are living proof that love survives death, not just because of the loss, but because of the magnitude of what it meant. 5 souls traveling together through time, meeting, losing each other, finding each other again, and now, finally, 4 of them together in this life, and 1, resting in peace. A year after the wedding, our life had completely changed. Emily was no longer a housekeeper. She had become the director of a foundation we had created together, the Sarah Foundation, in honor of my grandmother. Its mission was to help women in vulnerable situations find dignified employment and escape cycles of poverty. She said it was her way of honoring her past, of transforming her pain into purpose. "I can't forget what it felt like when I arrived at your house," she told me one night. "The fear, the shame, the feeling of being invisible. Now I can help other women feel seen." The twins had adapted perfectly to their new life, but they remained extraordinary. Diego had learned fluent Nahuatl in just 6 months, and not from a teacher, but from memories. Valentina had begun to write poetry in ancient Spanish, that university professors found historically accurate. "They are unique," the headmaster of their school told me. "I have never seen children with their level of intuitive knowledge." What we didn't tell him was that this knowledge came from 500 years of trying to be born. Roberto, from his new life abroad, maintained regular contact via video call. His cancer was in complete remission, and for the first time in his life, he seemed genuinely happy. "I found peace," he told me one night when we spoke alone. "I found the purpose of my life. It wasn't to be Emily's husband. It was to take care of the twins. Until you arrived, now that my mission is over, I can finally live for myself." A year after the wedding, Emily gave me the news. She was pregnant. The doctor confirmed what the twins had already predicted months before. "Someone else is coming," Valentina had said one afternoon. "Someone we were missing." The baby was born 9 months later, a girl. We named her Sarah, in honor of my grandmother. And when she was born, when the nurse placed her in my arms for the first time, the little girl opened her eyes, eyes of a deep green, the same eyes as my grandmother, the same soul, finally returning, not to guide us, but to be part of our family. "Sarah," I whispered, "welcome home." And the baby smiled, as if she understood every word. The first few months with Sarah were extraordinary. She wasn't like other babies. She slept when she was supposed to sleep, cried only when she needed something specific. And her eyes. Those green eyes inherited from my grandmother. I seemed to observe everything with an intelligence that defied her age. The twins treated her with a special reverence. Diego sang her songs in Nahuatl that she seemed to recognize. Valentina showed her her drawings of past lives, and Sarah watched them with absolute attention. "She remembers," Valentina told me one afternoon. "She remembers everything Grandma knew. That's why she looks at us like that. She's making sure that everything is okay." It was an impossible observation from a 7-year-old girl, but I was no longer surprised by impossible observations in this family. When Sarah turned 1, she said her first word. It wasn't Mama or Papa, it was Istli, my grandmother's Aztec name, the name of the brother who had died in battle 500 years ago and had been born again and again to reunite us. Emily and I looked at each other with tears in our eyes. Mercedes had confirmed what we already knew. She was the same soul, the same guardian. But this time, she hadn't come looking for us. She'd come to stay. "She doesn't have to search anymore," explained Dylan with his ancient soul in a child's body wisdom. "Now she can just be part of the family." And that was exactly what Mercedes did. She simply existed. She simply loved. She was simply our daughter, our sister, our eternal connection to the past. Today, as I write this. It's been 5 years since Emily almost quit. Dylan and Violet are 11 years old, Mercedes is 4, and there's another one on the way. Grandma Rose was right. When the cycle is broken, life blooms. The fourth baby announced itself in the most unexpected way. It was Mercedes who knew first. "Mommy," she said one morning while we were having breakfast, "there's someone new who wants to come." Emily and I exchanged glances. We'd learned to take our children's observations seriously. "What do you mean, sweetie?" Emily asked. "Someone who was missing," Mercedes explained with her tiny 4-year-old voice but her centuries-old eyes. "Someone who couldn't be born the other times, like Dylan and Violet, but different." 2 weeks later, Emily confirmed the pregnancy. The doctor was astonished. At her age, with 3 kids already, the odds were low, but there it was, a new life growing. "This baby," the doctor said, looking at the ultrasound, "is strong, incredibly strong for its stage of development." "We know," I replied. "It's been wanting to be born for 500 years. The doctor looked at us with confusion, but we knew exactly what it meant. When we investigated further in the files that Grandma Rose had left behind, we found a reference we'd overlooked. In 1524, the conquistador's daughter wasn't only pregnant with twins. There was a third, a triplet, who had died in the womb before she was executed. 3 souls waiting to be born. 2 had succeeded as Dylan and Violet. The third had waited even longer. And now, finally, its moment had arrived. While we waited for the birth of the fourth, the Mercedes Foundation grew exponentially. Emily had transformed her experience of poverty and humiliation into a movement that helped thousands of women each year. Journalists from all over the world came to interview her. They wanted to know her story. They wanted to understand how a housekeeper had ended up running one of the most successful foundations in the country. She always told the truth, the whole truth, the past lives, the visions, the 500 years of waiting. Some believed her, others thought it was marketing, but Emily didn't care. What mattered was the impact. "Every woman we help," she told me one night, "is a victory against the destiny that wanted us separated. Every life we improve is our revenge against 500 years of tragedy." And she was right. Emily and I watched our children play in the backyard of our house. The same house where she arrived as a housekeeper, the house that's now hers as much as mine. "What are you thinking about?" she asks me. "About how long we waited," I answer, "and how it was worth every second." She rests her head on my shoulder. 500 years, she says, seems like a long time. It is, but look what we got. I point to the children, to Mercedes running after her siblings, to Emily's belly, where another soul waits its turn. 4 kids, I say, 5 lives together before this one, and all of eternity ahead. Emily kisses me. "Do you think we'll be born again?" she asks. "I don't know," I reply, "but if we do, I hope you don't take 500 years to find me again." We both laugh, and at that moment, Dylan runs toward us. "Dad, Mom," he says, "Mercedes found something in the garden." We follow him to where the little girl is. She's been digging in the dirt with her tiny hands. And what she pulled out of the earth leaves us speechless. It's the jade medallion, the original one, the one we thought was lost centuries ago. "I buried it here," Mercedes says, with a child's voice but an old woman's eyes. "In my life as Grandma Rose, so you'd find it when it was time." "How do you remember that?" Emily asks. "Because I always remember," the little girl responds. "In every life I remember everything. It's my job to make sure you never get lost." The twins approach. Dylan takes the medallion and examines it. "It's the symbol of our family," he says, "the one that means eternal love." Violet nods. "And now it's complete," she adds, "because we're all together." The 5 of us hug in the garden as the sun begins to set. And at that moment, something extraordinary happened. The jade medallion that Mercedes had unearthed began to glow. It wasn't reflected light. It was its own light, a soft green light that emanated from the Aztec symbol engraved on its surface. The twins let out a gasp. Emily clung to my arm. Mercedes, on the other hand, smiled serenely. "They're here," the little girl said. "All those who waited for us, all those who searched for us, they're here to celebrate." I looked around. The garden looked the same, but something had changed in the air. There was a different density, a presence that I couldn't see but that I felt with every fiber of my being. And then I saw them, not with my eyes, with something deeper. I saw translucent figures in the garden, dozens of them. Men and women from different eras, different clothing, different cultures, but all with the same expression of love on their faces. They were all the versions of us, all the lives we had lived, all the tragedies we had suffered, all the failed attempts to reunite. And now, finally, they were at peace. Grandma Rose was among them. 7 versions of her. From the girl who saw the warrior die and the conquistador's daughter, to the blind old woman who had finally completed her mission, they were all smiling, all crying tears of joy. The youngest version, the one who had been my brother in 1524, stepped forward. I couldn't hear his voice with my ears, but I felt it in my soul. "Brother," he said, "you finally did it. You finally fulfilled the promise. Took you long enough," he added with a smile. 500 years is a long wait. "But it was worth it," I responded mentally. Every second was worth it. The figures began to fade, but before leaving completely, they left something behind. A blessing, a certainty, the promise that we would never have to search again, never have to wait again, never have to die separated again. When the last figure vanished, the medallion stopped glowing. But something had changed in all of us. I could feel it. Emily could feel it. Even the twins and Mercedes could feel it. We were complete. Finally, after 500 years, we were complete. "Dad," Dylan said, breaking the silence. "I can still feel them. All of them. They're at peace now." Emily nodded. "They don't have to look for us anymore, and now they just rest." Sarah, with her 4 years of age and age-old wisdom, added, "And when the baby is born, the circle will be complete. 6 souls, 1 family, forever." Emily and I looked at each other. Tears streamed down our faces. But they were tears of such profound happiness that it almost hurt. "I love you," I said. "I loved you in every life," and she replied, "And I will love you in every life to come." We kissed in the garden. Our children surrounded us in a group hug, and somewhere in the universe, dozens of souls that had waited 500 years finally found peace. 5 souls present, dozens of past versions, finally at rest. 500 years and finally, an eternal home. 3 months later, our 4th child was born. A boy. We named him Raphael, in honor of the Aztec warrior, who had started this whole story. When he was born, the twins were there. Sarah was asleep in a chair nearby, and I held Emily's hand as she gave birth. The baby was born, silently, without crying. He just opened his eyes and looked at us. And in that look, I saw something that I recognized. It was the 3rd triplet, the one who had died in the womb. 500 years ago, he was finally born. "Welcome, brother," I whispered. "We've been waiting for you for a long time." And the baby, as if he understood perfectly, smiled. Today, a year after Raphael's birth, our family is complete. 6 souls who traveled together through the centuries. 6 people who are finally where they were always meant to be. And a love story that survived death, time, and everything fate threw in its path. Sometimes, when the children are asleep and the house is quiet, Emily and I sit in the garden and look at the stars. The same garden where we found the medallion, The same garden where we saw all our past versions, celebrating our reunion. "Do you think all of this was coincidence?" she asked me one night. "No," I replied without hesitation. "I think it was destiny. But not the kind of destiny that just happens. The kind of destiny that you build, life after life, choice after choice." I took her hand. "Every time I died looking for you," I said, "I was building the path to this moment. Every time my grandmother was reborn to find us, she was paving this reunion. It wasn't chance, it was will, it was love. It was the absolute refusal to accept that we weren't meant to be together." Emily rested her head on my shoulder. "And now," she asked, "now that destiny is fulfilled, what do we do?" "We live," I replied. "We love. We raise our children. And when it's time to leave, and we do it together. Knowing that we no longer have to search. Knowing that in the next life, if there is one, they will start together from the beginning." She smiled. It was the most beautiful smile I had seen in 500 years. "I like that plan," she said. And so, this story ends, or rather, so it begins, because what Emily and I learned is that true love stories have no end. They just have chapters. And we've just finished the longest and most difficult chapter of all. The next chapter is simple. It's every day. It's waking up together every morning. It's watching our children grow. It's growing old, hand in hand. It's not epic. It's not dramatic. It has no visions, or shining medallions, or ghosts of the past. But it's exactly what we waited 500 years to have. And it's perfect. Recently, Diego asked me something that got me thinking. "Dad," he said, "if you could go back in time and avoid all the suffering, if you could make you and Mom meet in the first life and be happy from the beginning, would you do it?" I thought about it for a moment. It was a profound question for an 11-year-old, but I wasn't surprised by profound questions in this family anymore. "No," I replied finally, "because every life, every failed attempt, every tragedy, all of that made us who we are. If we had been happy from the beginning, we wouldn't appreciate what we have now. We wouldn't know what true love costs. We wouldn't be ready to be the family we are." Diego nodded slowly. "Then the suffering had a purpose," he said. "Everything has a purpose," I replied. "Even the pain, especially the pain. Because pain teaches us to value joy." My son hugged me, and in that hug, I felt 500 years of evolution, of growth, of love that had been strengthened with every obstacle. "Dad," he whispered, "thank you for never giving up. Thank you for looking for us in every life. Thank you for finally being born," I replied. "Thank you for waiting until we could protect you." We stayed like that for a moment, father and son, but also two souls who had known each other since before time existed. The story of our family clan has become a kind of legend. Journalists, researchers, skeptics, believers, they all want to know more. They want evidence. They want explanations. They want to understand how it's possible for love to transcend death. I always tell them the same thing. You can't understand it. With your mind, you can only feel it with your heart. If you've ever looked at someone and felt like you already knew them, if you've ever visited a place and felt like you'd already been there, if you've ever had a dream so vivid that it seemed like a memory, then you already know what I'm talking about. Love doesn't die, it just waits. And when it finally finds its way back, all the suffering, all the waiting, all the tragedy makes sense, because the reunion is worth any price, any wait, any number of lives. If this story made you feel something, if it awakened memories that you didn't know you had, if it made you wonder about inexplicable connections in your own life. Then the message reached its destination, because true love has no expiration date. It doesn't matter how many lives it takes. It doesn't matter how many obstacles appear. The souls that are destined to meet will meet. And when they finally do, after centuries of waiting, after tragedies and losses and promises kept through time, so the entire universe celebrates. Now close your eyes, think of someone who makes you feel something that you can't explain, someone whose presence causes you both peace and pain at the same time. Perhaps, like Emily and I, you also have a promise waiting to be fulfilled, and perhaps the moment to fulfill it is closer than you think. Because the souls that are destined to meet always do, no matter how many obstacles appear, no matter how many lives it takes, no matter how much time passes. True love knows no limits. And when she finally finds her way back home, the entire universe stops to celebrate. We celebrate every day as every sunrise together, every laugh from our children, every ordinary moment that to us is extraordinary, because we know what it cost to get here. 500 years of waiting, 7 lifetimes of sacrifice, countless deaths and rebirths, and finally, a home. Don't let anyone tell you that true love doesn't exist. It does exist. It just sometimes takes a while to arrive. But when it does arrive, it's worth every single second of the wait, I promise you.